My eyes used to be good, but I can't see who signed in online. Do we have any other council members that are showing in the attendee list? Do we have any other council members in the attendee list? I can't see the screen out there. Okay, so we have three of us. I just want to make sure we have a fourth. Okay, we can begin recording. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time is now 7:04 and today's date is July 15th, 2026. And welcome to the Stop Sign Program Community Forum. We have members of the community joining us today in the auditorium. Then we also got members online, and we have our chief of police as well as a representative from Avio, the company that runs and administers the program for us. And we've gathered here today because before implementing this program, the town did outreach, but we have heard concerns. And the purpose of tonight's forum is to explain why the town implemented the program in the beginning, to answer questions about how it goes. You can't hear me? Okay. Okay. All right. Let's straighten out a technical issue while we do that. And also, I want to make sure, see if folks at home can hear us. Is there someone online who's able to confirm if you can hear?
I
Okay.
can hear you.
In the auditorium, though, you can't hear me, or is that better? That's better. Okay. The purpose of tonight's forum is to explain why the town implemented the stop sign safety program, to answer questions about how it operates, to hear your concerns as residents, and to discuss whether changes should be considered. Our responsibility as your elected officials is not only to implement programs that improve safety, but also to evaluate them honestly. When residents raise concerns, we have a responsibility to listen, to review the facts, and to determine whether adjustments make sense. I ask that everyone be respectful of everyone's views. We may have different perspectives tonight on the program, but we share the same objective, and that is making Forest Heights a safer place to live, to work, and to raise our families. Tonight's discussion is going to be divided into two portions. First, we'll give some information, and we'll try to provide uh, information that may answer some of the questions that you have, or it may help inform your question that may change. We're also going to at the after the presentation portion and answer some questions, we're going to open up the forum. So anyone who's here or who's online will have the opportunity to ask a question or make a statement so we can get your feedback. We wanted to do this outside of a regular meeting since those tend to be very long and about different topics. Tonight, this next hour is simply about stop sign and pedestrian safety in our community, where we are now, and how we move forward. So firstly, I'd like to address that the stop sign safety program was created in response to concerns raised by residents regarding drivers failing to stop at a particular intersection in town. The place we first heard complaints about was Seneca and Mohican. And those complaints were connected to the fact that it's frequently used by students walking to Forest Heights Elementary. And it's also located in an area where a lot of people walk to Bellickers Park. This is a place where residents and families regularly walk and gather. In November 2023, the town conducted a pilot study at that intersection, and the results showed a significant number of stop sign violations happening over a 30-day period. To determine whether this was an isolated concern or if it was happening at other places in the community, the town conducted a second pilot study in 2025 at 11 intersections throughout Forest Heights. The results from that showed an average of approximately 3,800 stop sign violations per day across those locations. The intended goal of this program has always been to improve compliance with stop signs, reduce dangerous driving behavior, and to make our streets safer for pedestrians, children, and all residents, really, and to prevent accidents from happening. Now, before the citations began, the town took several steps to notify residents about the program and its implementation. Information was shared through town newsletters, press releases, a newspaper notice, the town's communication channels, and there was a warning period that began prior to enforcement. Even with those efforts, we continued to hear concerns from residents about how the program works, whether it's being administered fairly, and whether it is achieving its intended purpose. So rather than dismiss those concerns, we believe that it's important to create an opportunity for direct conversation with you, the residents. Tonight's an opportunity for us to answer questions and to discuss the program more. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our Chief of Police, Chief Daniel Ruffin, to answer some basic questions about what constitutes a stop, what we've observed as being the correct stop, and what constitutes a violation.
All right, how you guys doing tonight? So what constitute a correct stop is when you stop before the actual line. Once you go over the line, that's when the violation is sent to us. So I can share my screen real quick, and I want to show you guys just a couple examples. So what we're looking for when we are doing the violation is as we go through, every single time that we are approving a violation, we have to look to make sure, one, they're going over the stop line and there's not stopping prior to the stop line. So if you look at this video, and these are just different angles, if you go over the line, that is when the citation is issued. There are times when you guys are getting the citation and it's the picture. If you go onto Let's Drive Safer and actually watch the video, if it goes over that line before you come to a complete stop, that's when the violation is sent to us. Every single violation that we are, I guess you would say, approving, they are going over the stop line, or we are literally watching every single violation to make sure that the person that is doing it isn't stopping at the line or hesitating before we approve any violation. And these are just a couple different angles of different violations that have been approved and why they are approved. Even though you see the brake light, they're going through the stop sign.
So just a moment.
Well,
I know that we
these
have,
are the ones that
Chief,
so-
just one moment. I just want to set ground rules. I know that we may not agree on everything, but we are going to have a portion when members of the public can speak and you can share your opinion. I'm not going to stop you, and I'm not going to refute what you say. So if we can accept the ground rules, we'll get through tonight and we'll let people share how they feel, whether in support or if they feel differently.
All right. So back to what I was saying. So, for example, the reason why you get the citation is because you're going over the stop line. It's not if you come up to the stop line and stop. The only way that it is triggering for us to get the violation is once you go over that stop line, it triggers for us to come through. There are multiple different factors that are in place prior to it getting to us. Once it gets to us, every single citation is being reviewed prior to it going out to you guys to get the citation. The last couple ones, I know the biggest intersection is this one that everybody has talked about. But when we have people that are out, especially going through the crosswalk, it's kind of hard for us to go through there. So this is Comanche and Livingston. So that is how the citations are working. Now, a complete stop is when you come to that stop line, you're completely stopping at the stop line. Your wheels have to stop prior to the stop line. Once they stop and then you proceed out, it will not get you a violation.
Okay, let's move to another question. There's a summary of a lot of items that I know residents have raised concerns about. So we're going to go through and try to address most of those. One question we've heard is, how do we know about the camera calibration and the accuracy of the cameras? And this is going to go to, who do we have online from Avio tonight?
Hi, my name is Ricky Seaman. I am the Community and Customer Success Lead, and I've got my colleague Wade Borman on the call as well. He is our Program Manager.
Okay, so we've got Mr. Borman and Mr. Seaman. One of the questions we've had from residents is, why does it appear in a video that the vehicle is going faster than maybe a resident feels like they're actually moving in their car? And how do you calibrate the cameras and know that they're accurately depicting if a vehicle stops or how it's moving through the stop sign?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I'm going to see if my colleague Wade might be able to take this one. Wade, if you're on, I know Wade was having some connectivity issues.
Y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
So we have technicians out in the field and we have software engineers training on the back end. So we really to make sure everything's okay and calibrate it. Basically, the video when you talk to judge, video is the video. It isn't sped up or manipulated. If it were to be, we're still looking for a complete stop in the right area before the stop line. Does that make sense?
Mr. Borman, one moment. We had some individuals walk in just as you started your answer. So give me just 1 minute. Once they get seated, I'm going to have you repeat that so everyone gets a chance to hear. Okay, if you could give us that answer again on the calibration and how that works.
Wade, you may
We
be
do
you're muted if you're speaking.
hardware check.
Mr. Borman, can you hear me? You can go ahead and restate the answer. Okay, I'm not able to hear your audio at this time. Mr. Seaman, if you have the answer, you can give it now. If not, I'm going to go to another question and we may come back to this one.
Yeah, so we have technicians that are out there every day that are checking for the actual hardware calibration. So that's kind of the first aspect of it. The second aspect of it is every single violation that comes in, our internal team, they are reviewing for any kind of calibration errors or issues or anything per violation. So as far as calibration goes, it's twice daily for hardware, and then it is upon each violation calibration check.
Okay. Another question we've heard is there was a warning period, and during that period, only warnings were supposed to be mailed out. How many warnings were mailed out during the warning period?
Let me see if this is also maybe an answer for my colleague, Mr. Borman. I know he's having some connectivity issues as well. Give me 1 second. I may have the answer for you. I know Wade's trying to connect again. Apologies for the technical difficulties here, everyone. Okay. If we're able to punt this question, my colleague's going to be trying to reconnect and see if we can get the answer. Apologies for that. Yeah, apologies for that. If we can jump to the next question, my colleague is going to pull up that information. Again, sorry, he's having some connectivity issues on that.
The next question is, could you explain the appeals process? And Chief Ruffin, you may have a better answer for this. I'm going to go to you on this one.
All right. If you want to appeal your ticket, especially a stop sign camera ticket, there are a couple ways that you could do it. One, if you go online and you are looking at it and you want to appeal it, you can bring it to us. We can look at it. However, the best way to appeal it is everybody will get a court date. You take it to court, and the representative for Avio will be there, and the judge will see the ticket, and that is your way to say whether the judge is there. That's not us. That's not Avio making the decision. This is from the judge's point of view. If you have committed that violation, every single person has the right to go before the judge and appeal every single citation that they are given. If you want a court date and you want to go before the judge, you can appeal your stop sign camera ticket. Yes, sir.
I'm going to have a portion. Who's this council member? I'm sorry, Kennedy. Is that you, sir?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, because of stop. So normally, I guess we've already gone to court to contest some of these. People have already gone to court.
Yes, a lot of people have gone to court to contest it. It depends on the judge. I can't say whether the judge will court call. Sometimes it's the violation or no court call. Sometimes it is. That's up to that system in order to make that final decision.
You know, talk to like this within Forest Heights.
We have an ombudsman process where you can send it to the ombudsman officer, and the ombudsman officer will get back in contact with you, and then they will review your complaint and your situation, and then they will let you know whether it's going to be cleared or if they're going to say no and then send you to court. When you call here, we will direct you to the ombudsman officer. No, so well, hold on.
Just a moment.
The reason why I did not answer it that way is because I want to make sure it's very clear. The Avio is it's not just for Forest Heights. So every ombudsman for every municipality is different. So if we put the ombudsman information on that ticket, it wouldn't be for every jurisdiction. So that's why if you have a situation for the town of Forest Heights, we will direct you to the person that it needs to go to. So when you request a court date, you have the option to either request a court date, or if you call and ask us questions about it, then that's when we would direct you to the ombudsman officer. It's the request for the court dates on the ticket, but internally, you can go to us for the ombudsman.
I mean, you're telling me something that, oh, it's known, but how is it known if it's not on the ticket?
Well, we can see if that's something we can add, but as of right now, the way it states, if you would like to do it internally, we would go through our ombudsman officer. Well, that's why we have the forum now, so we can make it clear for everybody. The forum, where we're in now. Yes. Nope. The forum. So that's why we're here now, so that we can answer all these questions and make sure it's clear to the public, because we do want to make sure that the information is getting out to everybody, and we want to make this process as smooth as possible. I know sometimes it may be an inconvenience, but we're trying every way possible to rectify it before you even have to go to court. And we will show you how to pull up your violation. We will show you how to look at it. We will show you what to do. But if you ultimately want to take it to court, every single person has the right to take it to court. Yes, sir.
Why haven't the Forest Heights police writing to us, so we have the information on who to talk to, as opposed to who was sent the ticket?
We approve it. It is dispersed by Avio. It's mailing it to you. Yes, we don't mail it out. Mhm.
Do I have enough spawn and time for me to go to court if I need to go to court?
Absolutely. No, ma'am. You know, we will come through. If there is an immediate emergency, we will actually pick up the phone, which we have done, and say, hey, let's go to Let's Drive Safer together. We can watch the video. We will show you how to pull it up so that you can watch it along with us, so we can show you how to do it. There have been many people that have come down to the station, and we will pull it up for you so that you can see it and then make your own judgment call at that moment as well, if you haven't received the call back from the ombudsman officer in a timely manner. Yes,
For those who are at home, I don't know if they can hear us since we're doing a virtual meeting. If you have a question, would you mind coming back to the podium to ask, so that way someone has the same question, they can hear the answer? Or do we have a mic we can take to someone? I'm trying to see if we can make it easy.
Yes, ma'am.
Still speaking to you.
No problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
My question is, you showed us the videos of people pulling up to the line.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
white line. So you're telling me I shouldn't cross the white line? Or,
No.
you grow up driving up to that white line.
So that California stop, that California roll, we can't do it here in Maryland. So what happens is the way that it works, your wheels have to stop prior to the white line. Now, the question would be, well, I can't see, right? That's where the merging comes in, because what we don't want to happen, most of the stop signs that we have are right before a crosswalk. So when you stop at that white line and your wheels come to a complete stop, meaning your car is driving and you feel that little shift back, then you have stopped. Once you stop, then you can merge out into traffic. But if your wheels are still moving, it will trigger for the camera to give you a citation because you have entered into that box and your wheels are still moving.
Okay. In other words, I need to stop before the white line,
Yes, ma'am.
not at the white line.
Not on the white line, before the white line.
Before the white line.
And if you are behind someone that has already stopped, you still have to stop again.
At the white line.
At the white line. So let's say you're in line and there's two cars. If that car in front of you stopped at the white line and you're behind them and you stop, just because you stop doesn't mean you can run. You have to come to that stop sign again, stop, and then merge into traffic.
Thank you. And to keep it fair and efficient, since we have the next meeting at 8, and to give each person an equal opportunity, I'll just limit the comments to 2 minutes. Thank you.
First, I'm not complaining about the stop signs because people need to stop. Totally understand. I stop at every stop sign now. It doesn't matter if it's in Forest Heights or not, if it has a camera or not. My only issue is you can barely see the lines. A lot of the lines need to be painted. You can't see them at night.
Yes.
Sometimes you can't.
Yes, ma'am. And they have the
No,
public-
let's let Ms. Hawkins
Oh,
continue. You have anything else?
Yeah, that was basic. That was my second one about the lines. I know that you guys were going through and painting some of them,
Mhm.
but not all of them are painted. And before you rolled this out, I feel like you should have made sure that the lines were painted, right? And I understand you gave a warning period, but the lines wasn't painted after the warning period. And some of the lines you couldn't even see. Like that one on Quaid, you couldn't see the line. It was faded. And I understand that I had to stop and my nose couldn't be touching the line and all of that. I found that out later. But still, the line wasn't there. The line wasn't, it was merged with the street. So I didn't feel like that was fair,
Yes, ma'am. No, I understand. Yes, ma'am.
All right, I see I have someone online as the next person's coming up inside. You can come up. I'm going to take someone off line and someone can tell me the names. I can't see these names on the screen tonight, but
Jonas Mitchell. Jonas Mitchell.
I'm going to go to Mr. Jonas Mitchell.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, so I actually have one question and then one more of a statement. The first question, when deciding to implement this program, I know there were 3,800 violations of like running the stop signs. Were there any incidents of anything, accidents, people getting hit, those types of things?
We've had multiple, I would say within the last 6 months, we've had 2 pedestrians that have been struck and hit at the crosswalks.
Okay, because I hadn't heard of those. Okay, and then my second, more of a statement. So you mentioned, so I'm assuming that you've heard it already, that as you're going to stop at the stop sign, that people can't see. And so I think it's almost unfair for anyone who's going to be driving through our neighborhood, and us as residents as well, on the very first 2 instances, because you say that it's best for you to stop at the line, which is perfectly fine. Once you tell people that, I think everyone would do it. I don't think there's going to be any issues there. The problem is that when you do go to stop at, I know I live on Ottawa, so going from Ottawa and turning towards Livingston, and then stopping at Livingston or Comanche, sorry. So, and then Sideville Comanche going onto Livingston. On both of those views, you can't see the road, right? Like you can't see what's coming through. So I know most of the time on Comanche, there's like a van or truck that's always there. So it's really hard to see the traffic that's coming through. And then when you stop right before you turn on Livingston, there's a tree that's there. So you won't be able to see that either. So for the vast majority of people who are coming through our neighborhood on the very first time, if they don't know anything about stopping specifically at that line, they'll stop, but still get cited, which I know I was, and still get cited even though they stopped. And I had that multiple times happen to me until eventually we figured out, oh, it must be the line. So I don't know if there's a sign or something that we can put there specifically that says stop here, not just the stop sign. Everyone knows there's a stop sign and they're going to stop. But if you want people to specifically stop
Yes,
at
sir.
the line, I
That's
think
your
there
time,
should be
sir.
an extra sign. Sorry, there should be an extra sign that says stop here at the line.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Ms. Bracy.
Hi, I had the same concern about Comanche and Livingston. I noticed after 6 months, just ahead of this meeting, that bush had been trimmed. But it still doesn't take away from the fact that we still have to stop twice. First for the pose for the camera, and second to see what's coming in either direction, because you still cannot see everything coming in either direction on Comanche Drive and Livingston. My other concern is that I just recently got administrative fees for tickets from a while back, tickets that I never received. I never received any late notices or anything. And I find it highly unlikely that I receive all of my mail except Forest Heights stopped camera tickets. So those are my, oh, and also the ombudsman. I went to the office the other day to complain, and she told me to complain to the ombudsman and gave me an email address. I did email today and it came back saying no such address. So, and plus she was not very happy that I even asked the question. And that's my concern.
Okay, I'll answer the two of them for you. The one for Comanche and Livingston, why do you have to stop twice? If you look at the intersection at Comanche and Livingston, if you don't stop prior to merging out into traffic, you're literally stopping in the crosswalk. So if someone is walking on that crosswalk, you're going to be in the crosswalk as somebody is walking down Livingston Road. So we do want you to stop at the stop sign. If you stop once and merge into traffic, you will not get a violation. It is when you run over the stop line and go into the crosswalk to merge into traffic, that is when the citation is issued. The reason why we could not trim the tree fast enough, because there are policies and procedures that we have to follow as a government before we can trim a tree on someone's private property. So we went through those proper steps. We did everything we were supposed to do. However, even if the tree is there, you still have to stop at the stop line, and you could merge into traffic and it will not give you a violation. As far as the ombudsman person or the fees, that's why we have the ombudsman person, because those fees can be taken back if we see that we have made a mistake. That's what we're here for. Not saying that everything's perfect. Maybe the mail got lost. Something happened. That's why that is in place, to make sure you don't assess fees that's not warranted for your violation. So if you have things like that and it's not working, I'll tell you now, you can email me and I'll make sure it gets there. But I just want to make sure that you understand, if you have a fee and you say, hey, we have some late fees and I didn't get it, we can look and see, hey, when it was mailed out, when it was issued, any of those things, and make sure that every single citation is valid and we're not overcharging somebody. Our goal of the program is not to gain money. It is to reduce the amount of people that are driving through the stop signs, because we have walkers, we have kids going to school, we have people in the neighborhood that like to walk, and we see people that just run stop signs, and it is dangerous because we do not want anybody to get hit. That's the goal of it.
Thank you, Chief.
And I do have just one update as my colleagues coming back online now. For the warning letters question, we sent out 1,910 warning letters over a 30-day period.
How many violations did you have during that
How many
period?
tickets did we first get?
Just a moment. Mr. Seaman, how many, is that the number of violations there were that month?
That's correct.
Just to repeat the question or the statement, he was answering our earlier question about how many warning violations were sent out during the warning period. That was over a 30-day period.
That's correct.
How many tickets have been issued roughly on average in the 30 days periods following the warning period?
Let me see. I have a presentation here to kind of show the progress of the actual program itself. Let's see. Sorry, I'm gonna have to dig. Give me just 1 second. And the question was, how many have been issued in total since the beginning?
Question was on average, how many do you issue over a 30-day period? Is it 1,000 or is it higher than that?
Sorry, I've got the presentation here that I was going to show you all, so I can find the information. Sorry, per day. Around that, that's going to be around 10,000. That's on average.
That's per month?
Correct.
Okay, so if you're going to bring presentation up and show some of the other data at this time.
I can definitely do that, yes.
And I didn't forget, I know we got Ms. Mao who has a question, a statement. And I also know there's another hand online.
Okay, is everyone able to see my screen? Sorry, is everyone able to hear me as well?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, excellent. Sorry, there may be some connectivity issues there. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you everyone again for joining today. So, like I said, I'm Ricky Seaman. I'm the new lead for community and customer success, and I wanted to talk to you guys all about the program and kind of the impact that the program has been having so far in Forest Heights. So, since the implementation of this program, we've seen and observed violations decline across all deployments about around 55%. That is a change in behavior, which is exactly like the chief said, exactly kind of what we're looking for to make safer streets. Really, we're looking for that behavioral change. Just a quick kind of couple updates with us. Let's Drive Safer by Avio. We have passed the HB 364, which is traffic safety. That's been instrumental in passing the stop sign monitoring legislation in Prince George's County, Tacoma Park, Baltimore, kind of all over. And really 2025 to 2026, we've seen kind of this national movement of traffic and road safety, not just in Maryland, but we are also operating in Colorado, Virginia, looking at other states right now, North Carolina, Delaware as well. And excuse me, since 2025, we've had an increase in about 70 plus cameras or so. And that also includes a 65% reduction in unsafe stop sign running. It's a change in behavior again. What kind of makes us different as a company working with
Mr. Seaman, let's do this. We have
Yeah.
limited time tonight, so let's fast forward to the data that specifically talks about the Forest Heights program.
Perfect. That sounds great. Yeah, no problem at all. Just wanted to show you this here. These are the violations that are down 52% since the program has begun. You can see here on the left-hand side, 17,100 average weekly violations. That was in early January. This program has decreased the number of violations by 52%, like I had mentioned before. You'll notice that there are high, medium, and low. These high, medium, low in red, orange, and blue, these signify the egregious, the egregiousness of the stop or lack thereof itself. So you can think of this as kind of speed, right? So the red are going to be those violations that are generally around 10 miles an hour and up. Medium on average is going to be around, let's say 5 to 10 miles an hour. And then these blue ones are going to be kind of those low level, kind of running through stop signs, kind of those California rules like the chief mentioned. And so you'll see there's been a significant decrease as well in these high egregious violations, not just in the program, overall changing that behavior. All sites, there are 11 sites in Forest Heights. We have seen all sites go down sharply in the behavior and the number of violations. Auto Streets, 67, Seneca Drive, 66, Cadiz Street, 65, Comanche, 65, Seneca, 64, and Auto Street Northwest at 64%. Again, it's a decrease in the number of violations significantly since the program started. This is continued. Again, 57%, all the way down to Woodland Drive at 24%. One thing to call out is that violations tend to ramp up through the week. Kind of makes sense. It's a Friday. It's the highest day. People are trying to get back home, after a work week. So these are just some of those stats there that I wanted to pull for you all. Weekdays peak. This is looking at kind of the time for when we see the violations. Excuse me. Weekdays tend to peak around 4 p.m., which kind of makes sense. It's again the end of that workday, rush hour. People are trying to make it home, and then weekends tend to peak around 3 p.m. for the violations. So one thing I want to call out is who is actually getting cited for these. So 98% of citations go to drivers from outside Forest Heights. Just want to repeat that again. 98% of the citations that are issued in Forest Heights are not Forest Heights residents. They are non-residents. Actually, Forest Heights residents are receiving only 2.2% of the citations that are being issued in the municipality. That's around 1,300, 1,290 or so citations that are Forest Heights residents, compared to 57,983 citations non-residents. So if we're looking at the most cited drivers from nearby cities, this is just a graph here to kind of show you that. Oxon Hill, Washington, D.C., Fort Washington, a lot of cut through, a lot of people driving through, and making up that high majority of citations for Forest Heights. If we can see Forest Heights down here compared to some of the rest of the cited drivers at 2.2%. I'll leave this up here just for a second so you guys can see. So the resident share has held between around 0 to 5% across the program. That's again kind of the number of residents for Forest Heights that are actually receiving the violations, and it's consistently below 10% at every single site. That's at all 11 locations where there are cameras for Forest Heights residents. Again, below 10% for every site. And this is just the resident share continued. Now, one thing I want to call out is that most tickets are coming from really a small number of repeat offenders. So if you're looking at this here, you'll see the number of residents, you'll see the number of non-residents, 975 resident repeat offender tickets, and then 17,741 non-resident repeat tickets. So the top takeaway here really is that plates with more than 3 tickets are a small share of drivers, but drive a disproportionate share of the citations. And again, like I said, most citations kind of track back to that small group of repeat offenders. You can see this broken down here from the number of plates, the citations issued, as well as waived. Again, that's kind of that same idea that it's really just a large percentage is those repeat offenders. One thing I want to call is that we waive repeat tickets rather than pile them on. That's one thing that we do not do. We do not pile those on. You'll get a second violation within those 13 days of a citation. Excuse me. We waive the repeat tickets rather than pile them on. A second violation within 14 days of a citation, or a third within 3 days isn't cited, giving drivers that really chance to kind of change their behavior, which again is really the goal of this program.
Mr. Seaman, repeat that definition of what's waived and just state it kind of slowly.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. So we don't pile on these citations. So if you get a citation, you won't get another citation for another 14 days. Our goal, like the chief said, is not it's not
Sir,
money generating. It's really to make sure that
you'll have a chance to come back and say that. Continue, Mr. Seaman.
Okay. So yeah, so wanted to call that out. So we don't pile them on. If you get a citation, you won't receive another one for 14 days. That's kind of the goal, to change that behavior there. And then lastly, just want to call out that we do community engagement. We do have tech support. Anyone has any questions, we do have support in English and Spanish. You can call us at any point in time for our customer support. You can email us at any time, and we can help you with any questions, walk you through payments. If you have questions about court, scheduling, contestation, whatever it is, you can go ahead and give us a call. We're here to really try to make this a smooth and seamless process. So.
Okay. On that last point, I need some clarification. You don't get another citation within 14 days if it's at the same intersection or just within the system in 4 sites?
That should be within the entire system within 4 sites. Let me confirm with that with my colleague really quick though. Wade, if you had any second.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I know you're having some trouble. There you go.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hi everyone. So for the repeat offender, I do want to correct. It's 10 days and then 3 days after that, and it is for the whole Forest Heights system. So if you've gotten a violation in Forest Heights, then that begins. Did that answer the question?
I don't understand the second half. You said 10 days and then you said then 3 days after that.
Right.
What's the
So
3
then it
days?
goes, we still give grace for every 3 days in the system as well after that initial 10-day.
It sounds like we'll need that policy somewhere we can read and review, and it doesn't make sense on the face of it to most of us in the room.
Okay.
But let's
We'll
get some
definitely
more
write up a
information on that to
policy.
understand exactly how that works.
Sounds good.
All right, I'm going to open it back to questions. We have Ms. Mao before we went to the presentation. Did I say the right name? Oh.
Okay. All right, I'll turn on my timer. Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Tracy Mao. I live here in Forest Heights, and I serve on the beautification committee. I share the town's goals of safer streets, which is exactly why I'm asking us to reconsider this program. Let's start with the number that the town gave us, 976 violations on one day at Livingston and Route 10. That's 1,000 drivers who are failing. These are not bad people. And I would like to also contest the data that they're presenting as those people who are coming here are not residents, or people who are delivering our groceries, who are delivering our medicine, who are providing us needed services. So I don't want to punish them either. The fact that there's so many violations means that this is an engineering problem, not a problem with the drivers. And also, who pays? A flat fine is regressive by design. $40 is nothing to some households, and a missed bill to others, cascading into late fees, court costs, lost licenses for the neighbors who have the least cushion. That's not safety, that's tax for being poor. And where does the money go? Obvio. They only profit if the violations continue. So what is their point of calibrating correctly or doing anything else to actually bring these violations down? I want to know I want the contract published so we can see how the revenue is split and where our share is being spent. Privacy, these pylons record everyone who passes. The company's data centers are self-reported and unaudited, and the footage is owned by the town. So residents deserve to know how long it's kept and who can access it. I would also like to bring up another point. Let's not jump on this bandwagon just as the rest of the country is jumping off. Communities across the United States, red, blue, big, and small, are canceling these surveillance contracts. Dozens of localities have pulled their cameras over exactly these concerns. Data shared without consent, footage sent to who knows where, systems sent and grow into something that residents never agreed to. I'd like clarifications on which signs are marked, transparency where the data is being stored, publish the contract, and consider sliding scales or other ways for people to pay these fines. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mao. Could I get someone to let me know the next name that's online? I see Mr. Hammett. I will begin your 2 minutes. Thank you. You can unmute.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Marcus Hammett, Seneca Drive. I'd like to know, to her point, how much revenue has been generated thus far from these tickets, and how is the town planning on spending that revenue?
I'll let Mr. Seaman or Mr. Borman answer in just a moment. But first, I'll state that yes, the program does generate revenue. However, the town does not budget for or rely on this revenue. And the way that the state law works is that it's designed to be used for pedestrian safety improvements. So part of tonight's meeting and hopefully the continuing discussion around this is what are the needs that we have that can be addressed by the funds that are raised. And I've also heard in direct conversation with some individuals that they think it's going to go like to the police department, but this is specifically about on the ground, like walking, crosswalks, signage, lighting. We're trying to see if it can be used for sidewalks or curbway improvements, things that residents have been asking for a long time and that contribute directly to making the streets safer. Now I'll go to Mr. Seaman or Boardman, who has the answer on the amount of revenue that's been generated so far with the program.
Hi, everybody. So the revenue number for the town has brought in $433,426. And in the legislation, it has to be put into public safety. So it's written into the legislation that all funds collected have to go back to public safety. So like Mr. Jackson was saying, sidewalks, crosswalks, painting, speed bumps, things like that.
Okay, next question, sir. You'll have 2 minutes.
I just have two quick statements. One, how much money was made by Obvio in the past however months have been running from our town? The violations in our town.
Avio has made $404,054.
As pure profit, correct? They just set up the systems and let them run.
We have a lot of hardware to maintain and software to maintain.
And
so
how often do you send your people out to recalibrate? You said every day?
we have software engineers checking daily and then
So
hardware.
do you have people on the ground here actually physically checking the cameras?
Yes,
That they're
sir,
not
we have-
moved, that they're still marked? Because there's 2 cameras in our neighborhood that are not clearly marked right now.
What do you mean by marked? I'm sorry.
As in, there's a camera here, please stop. As in, it's not properly marked. And the intersection I'm referring to is 210 in Livingston,
Okay.
right where Henry's Food is, Soul Food. It is
Okay.
impossible to legally go north on 210 now because of the 3-second arrow and the stop sign. And people line up there, and y'all don't know this because y'all are a big company and y'all actually aren't here. But us who live here, 210 is impassable and has been made more dangerous because of the stop sign camera. If that first person is turning left, that second person needs to follow them in order to catch that light. If not, there's 2 different types of traffic coming towards them when they are trying to turn left into it. And if you stopped at that light, other cars behind you just go around you and run the light anyways and go in front of you. So you've actually made the intersection more dangerous. Thank you.
So we're happy to replace the sign if the sign's missing. As far as the traffic engineering of an intersection, I would have to defer to a traffic engineer.
Let's go to the next hand that's raised online. Ms. Caress Mitchell.
Hi,
Mayor.
I'm along.
We heard you for a moment. Now I can't hear. I don't know if you went on mute.
I heard the council member. I didn't know if I needed to stop or not.
Yes, you can begin.
Okay, I'm a resident of Livingston on Ottawa Street for 15 years, and I just wanted to say my largest concern is that I've seen people speed when we had speed humps and no speed humps on Ottawa Street, and nothing has changed in the past 15 years over the repeat offenders. But it feels like the residents who are trying to stop are being penalized if we have 2 stop signs on either side of our street to even go to work each day. My family has received 50 tickets at 5903 Ottawa Street since February. So I would love to refute what they are saying about the violations, because I'm considering moving out of the neighborhood. I have to spend $2,000 a year on parking tickets because my income will never reflect that if we keep having violations. And some of them are school buses. So I would love to know if PG County is paying for whether school buses are running stop signs or not as well, because it feels like we are being penalized as residents more than anyone else. And that's just going to keep gatekeeping our community and not allowing revenue to come into Forest Heights.
Let's go to is there anyone else inside the room who would like to ask a question? Let's go to the next. I see. There's someone whose name is Samsung online. I don't know whose
Hi.
name it is, but you can come offline and
Hi, that's me. Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
I'm Carol Ann Prather. I live on Quaid Street, right at the stop sign where the one camera is. But my issue that I'm going to speak of is my husband had an idea where you're coming off of Comanche as well as off of Arapahoe onto Livingston, where it is difficult to get through that stop sign into the traffic, or from Livingston where you can't, even if you, now that the bush has been or the tree has been trimmed, you still can't see far enough down once you stop at a full stop behind that white line to see traffic coming to get out into the road. Why don't we spend some of that money that we're getting from us ticketer people to put stop lights up, traffic lights at those 2 places, at Livingston and Arapahoe, and at Livingston and Comanche?
Well, I guess we can look into that as part of today's conversation. It's not something we had thought about before. We can look into it, and we're trying to gather ideas, and we'll be taking the feedback to discuss any potential changes or modifications, or just what we do next. Let's put it that way. We discuss what we do next after tonight.
There is a stop sign. I mean, there is a light, traffic light at Birchwood and Livingston. We should have one. We should have those stop lights.
Thank you. I see Councilmember McDonald online with a comment.
Yes, I just had one quick comment. Thank you for coming and sharing with us this information. I represent Ward 1. And my question is, from a program perspective, what rate determines success in making the adjustments in terms of the cameras going away?
It sounds like a question for the council. Does Avio have a percentage, or is there a recommended threshold where, it seems like mission's accomplished, or where we consider temporarily decommissioning cameras, or maybe it's a question for the council, and I think we can maybe talk about and discuss some benchmarks for success if safety is what we're aiming for. We know we won't get to 100%
Right, Mayor, but
compliance.
Mayor, I'm asking Avio from
you're
their
asking Avio.
experience, what has been the rate that determines the cameras being removed from areas where changed behavior has taken place?
So we don't have any set percentage. This is a pilot program in PG County. The legislation has that is a 4-year pilot, and we do send the county data every year, and they will probably ultimately make that decision of what is an acceptable, is this program working or it's not. But to the mayor's point, like, I would love to know what the council and mayor and what the residents would find maybe an acceptable percentage, like when we have found success. But from our perspective, the lower it gets, the better. And if we're still seeing trends go down, they're still working.
I see another hand up. Can someone tell me that name? What's the first name? Oh, Levelyn Hammett, excuse me.
Hi. So yeah, I am just curious about what he said about the two things. One, that the tickets, we would have tickets within either 3 or 10-day time frame. I have 25 tickets in front of me right now. Some are from the same day. Some are I have one in particular from 2:50 p.m. and one from 12:54 the same day. And I have them all in my hands right now, looking at them, not the repeat notices, but the actual tickets. And so there's that. And then I appreciate what the lady said earlier about, like, what are we going to do about a payment plan? Because, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I got 25 tickets right here.
So for the first question, obviously that sounds like our mistake. If you could please give us a call at support, or give Ricky or myself an email, we can help you sort that out. It sounds like something went wrong. Obviously that's not something we're trying to have happen. And your second question is, all citations, you can contest in court. A lot of times judges, also don't like stacking citations. So sometimes there's leniency, and that's the best course of action for that kind of situation.
Could you give the phone number so those in the room and those online can have it? You might be getting a lot of calls tomorrow.
Sure, one sec. I'll drop it in the messages if that works. Just need a second to pull it up. And so that it's on recording as well. Support at letsdrivesafer.com. Phone number is 855-655-6621. And I can repeat that because I know that was kind of fast. Support at letsdrivesafer.com, 855-655-6621. And it's regular business hours. I believe 8 to 4 or 9 to 5.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do have another regularly scheduled meeting that starts at 8 tonight, but I do want to thank everyone who's come in person and who's joined online for your questions, for your statements. So we are going to continue the conversation. We wanted to schedule tonight's meeting because the time is of the essence, and we wanted to start the conversation as soon as possible. So based on what I've heard tonight, we have several questions before us. One of them is, does the current enforcement policy reflect the town's public safety goals? Another question is, are there policy adjustments that would improve public confidence while maintaining safety? And the last one, if I can finish, I just want to make sure I summarize what we've talked about tonight. This is not the last conversation. The last question, it sounds like I've heard, is there's two questions. What does success look like? And then two, under what circumstances should the program continue, be modified, be paused, or conclude? Those are the questions before the community and the council. We'll be continuing the conversation about what the program looks like next. And we thank you for coming out, voicing your honest feedback. We've uncovered that there are some real issues, and we want to address them, and then we want to look at what we do going forward. So thank you.
I'm sorry, could someone send out the phone number? I wasn't able to write it down, the phone number that he mentioned.
We need the phone number one more time if you could, Mr. Borman.
Sure, of course. 855 655 6621.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Stop Sign Community Safety Forum. We're going to close this meeting out and go to the next regular town meeting, which starts at 8 p.m. Has a separate link. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all.